last episode ended very badly after getting personally threatened by the Electro Archon and nearly being deleted from the existence by A herself. I made what I thought a very reasonable decision, leaving Inazuma. Immediately, future me could deal with this place. Present me needed emotional support and probably several hundreds of character materials. So I packed absolutely nothing and left a nation that traumatized me and started wandering around Teyvat instead. Surely, everything else will be easier, right? The first stop was Mondstadt, the peaceful nation, the beginner one, the nation where absolutely nothing happens, and except some dragons, some villagers, some, the senior staff, Fatui drama, discriminations and family politics, and Eula trying to prove that she isn't responsible for the mistakes of her ancestors. I honestly accepted the relaxing character quest. Instead, I got surprisingly invested in Eula's story, while simultaneously realizing that my travels still couldn't survive 5 minutes without someone trying to beat us up. The Fatui made sure to remind me that living in Inazuma didn't magically make my account stronger. And then, after Eula's story, I somehow ended up continuing Zhilong's story quest. Now, there were many things I accepted from Geo Archon, but swimming simulator wasn't one of them. At one point, I literally spent, I felt like half an hour or maybe more swimming toward the ship in the middle of nowhere. No teleport, no fancy shortcuts, just me in the water. Well, and Kaya sometimes with his freezing powers. I still don't know why I committed to that instead of just questioning my life choices halfway. Then things become even more confusing. I discovered this beautiful tea village. I just teleported to the new area, I wanted to open the location, and the story started without me doing anything. And, I looked around for about 30 seconds and confidently announced that we finally in Sumero. We were not. Turns out I was still in Liyue. Well, close enough, I guess. The village itself was very beautiful. I collected enough tea to supply half of Teyvat, helped protecting the area with the Daptoi, did something with the water, and I don't know what else, and admired the scenery. The village was really beautiful. And then immediately remembered one of my biggest weaknesses. Genshin dialogues. Don't make me wrong, I love this story, but sometimes the game decides that what you really need before saving the world is 17 business days of conversation, and sometimes it can get really boring. Eventually, the tea village was saved, and I found myself back to the Mondstadt. This time it was Albedo's story, so we met Sakros, started investigating interesting things, and I went back in Dragonspine again. Well, Dragonspine and I have very complicated relationships. Every time I arrive there, I remember exactly why I hate these mountains. 5 minutes later, I'm taking screenshots because it's absolutely gorgeous. 10 minutes later, I'm freezing to death. It's a cycle. And after all of that, my brain noticed something very interesting. A giant floating cube. The Geo Hypostasis. And for a reason I still cannot explain why, I looked at it and thought, yes, I can probably beat that alone. Solo mode. The confidence lasted about 30 seconds, because nobody warned me that after destroying all of its health, it simply decides that, well, it's time to come back. Again, and again, and again, and again for what I felt like next eternity. I was running around the area, desperately trying to understand what the stupid pillars wanted from me, while the cube was continuously bullying me in increasingly creative ways. Every time I thought the fight was finally over, another phase started. By the end of, whatever was that, I wasn't even figuring out how to beat the Geo Hypostasis anymore. I was just fighting with my own optimism and trying to survive. I don't know. I still see that Geo thing in my nightmares. And after the cube broke my confidence, the game quietly opened the next door for me. It was not Inazuma, I was still scared to go back, but it was the understanding how important the artifacts, domains, character materials, and weapons materials are. And I figure out that we have talents, and that talents can be leveled up too. So, I don't know, things I had technically seen before, but I never truly respected, started to be very necessary to me. And this was the moment I started understanding that being weak was not my one problem. It was a system, and I needed to figure out the whole system. But there's where chat came, and really nice friends that helped me to beat the bosses, and I could just stand there and watch him doing all the job, and well, thank you for that. I love you all, guys. So when I left Inazuma, I thought I was escaping like the difficult part of the game, but even Mondstadt could humble me, like I didn't expect it from Mondstadt, okay? And the Geo Hypostasis, I will never return to the place. Never, ever again, okay? Never. So maybe running away from Inazuma did not really help, but it did make me a little more ready to return, though I didn't yet. And that's probably the most dangerous sentence I could say before episode 3. So if you enjoyed watching me turn my one bad decision into an entire journey across Teyvat, make sure to stay around for the next episode as well. And I also stream this journey regularly on Twitch, YouTube, and Kick, so if you want to experience the chaos live, you can follow me there too. I'm always happy to see you in there. And if you care more about my life outside of Teyvat, well, you can follow my live account as well in the description box. I don't know, because sooner or later I have to go back to Inazuma, and I don't know, I have a little terrible feeling that A is not done with me yet.